Welcome to the Extreme Authority Podcast with Aaron Huey and Robert Raymond Riopel.
Well, all I'm going to say about this episode of Extreme Authority, you want to talk extreme authority, that's this guest, Dr. Andre Norman, 105 years, life sentence to all of a sudden becoming a fellow at Harvard. During this interview, I want you to have a pen and paper ready because, like Aaron and I, we were taking so many notes because of the gold that's being dropped.
This conversation is a game changer. Welcome to the Extreme Authority Podcast. Our guest today is Andre Norman. Andre, look, we talked earlier, the prison authorities earned through violence, fear, reputation, loyalty.
No. Prison was not ruled by violence. Prison is ruled by emotional manipulation.
Okay.
I didn't govern the prison by violence because no matter how tough I am, there's somebody tougher. No matter how good I fight, there's somebody who fights better. Now, how many days I can run, there's somebody who can run longer. So I learned early. Violence is the last resort and it's the weak man's option. So what I used to do is I'd find out your biggest fear. I find out your biggest emotional thing. Maybe your daughter can't read. Maybe you can't read. Maybe your mother locked you in the closet. Maybe whatever your thing is that's really crushed your life. There's a reason you're in jail. It's not just because you're a criminal. There's a reason you became a criminal. What made you drop out of school? What made you go into the streets? What made you shoot or rob that person? What was your why? I would find your why. Your dad wasn't there. Your mom was a prostitute. Your sister was an addict. You were hungry all the time. You lived in the projects. Whatever your why was, I'm going to find it. And I'm going to teach you, and I'm going to therapize you in that why. And in that discussion, I'm going to take your greatest pain from you, and I'm going to hold it. Now, once I got your greatest pain, the thing that drove you to prison, that drove your life off a cliff, I'm holding your pain. You don't feel it anymore. The one thing you don't want back is this pain. And you will do anything for me, no matter where I am on the planet. See, there's a physical violence, you do what I say when I'm in proximity to you. Emotional manipulation, do what I say as long as I hold your pain. So I got the pain of all the men inside the facility that were on my team, and I held their pain. I never violated their confidence. I never said anything about it. I just kept it and held it, and they felt safe because their pain was with Andre. Now, God forbid you do something to Andre because my pain's coming back. So they would defend me to their death because they didn't want the pain back, not because they loved Andre that much. Now, violence did come into play on occasion, but majority of my management was by understanding the person, understanding where they are and what they're going through. So if somebody works for you and his kid's on drugs, he's not fully functioning. If somebody works for you and his wife drinks too much, he's not fully functioning. If somebody works for you and his mother's in hospice, he's not fully functioning. Those are pain points. You solve those pain points, you got that man's full undivided attention. I can give you $100,000 right now. You say thank you. You put it in an investment account. You might go buy a new car or something. But if I save your kid, how far does that go? That's federal loyalty. Now imagine if I have the key to save your kid. And if I drop this key, your kid goes out the window. Now, what do you need me to do? Stand upright for the rest of my life. Because I got the key to keeping your kid afloat. Not just forever loyalty, but you forever need me. Because if I ever drop these keys, I got a bag of keys. If I drop them, all y'all kids go away. Your worst case scenario happens. So you're incentivized to keep me upright. And these keys above water. That's emotional. It's not physical.
Did you have to learn about two different worlds, or is Harvard and prison really the same things with different terms? You're talking about these guys with books, and you're talking about you, the way they saw you as, the guy who understands kids who live in urban city centers. But is it really different? Is it just the definition, or did you have to relearn about authority?
I just had to take out the violent part. I couldn't. If we disagreed, I couldn't smack you in the mouth. In prison, if we disagree.
So let me ask about this. Even to this day, how much of your energy of influence is still intimidation because of who you've been and where you've been and what you know versus what Robert and I know? How much of your authority is still...
My authority is rooted in the fact that I know what I know. I'm good at stats. I'm good at leadership. Now, I learned my leadership under different auspices. I learned how to navigate under different spaces, but nonetheless, I got the lessons. So there's a Navy SEAL who come teach you about doing burpees at 3 o'clock in the morning and running 30 miles, and you listen to him. Are you intimidated? No, I'm not intimidated by Dave Goggins. I love Dave Goggins. I listened to the lawyer who fought this case and beat the big tobacco company. Are we intimidated by him? No. He took on the big dog and he won. So my space, what makes my space different is you've never been there. You've only seen it in the movies. So it's scary to you. You've never seen the inside of a maximum security prison. So all you know is what the movies say, and you go with the movies. And that the movies are scary. Shawshank Redemption was the phoniest movie ever, but it was a great movie. It was completely unrealistic, but it was a great movie. I watched it several times, but there was nothing real about that movie at all, point blank. So projected weakness, Morgan Freeman was Tim Robbins' best friend in the movie, for lack of a better term. Tim Robbins got assaulted multiple times by that gang before the guard stepped in. Now, if you're my friend and we hang out and you get assaulted, you can't hang with me no more because birds of a feather flock together. So if I'm okay with you being assaulted and I'm not doing nothing in that, he must be okay. I mean, he's next on the list. That's projected weakness by you harboring somebody who's a victim. So if you're hanging with victims, that means you're a victim. So there's no way Morgan Freeman and Tim Robbins could have been friends in that movie for more than a day. Because the first time he got assaulted and he didn't do something about it, I got to cut you off and walk away. I love the movie, start to end. But it was so unrealistic from a prisoner standpoint. I remember they took me to London because there was a professor named Jules Goddard. He teaches at London Business School, Executive Education Department. He used to come to Boston and do seminars. They ran into me. I became part of the seminar team. Then they had this thing. Black people don't travel international. So they would come to Boston and do seminars and trainings. And one day I said, how about I come over there? They're like, huh? I said, I'll get on a plane and fly over there. They're like, are you serious? So I flew over. Nothing against them. In their minds, black men don't travel. Not internationally. So I fly over to London. I hang out for the day. They do a training with Deutsche Bank. They said, we don't know how this is going to work. You get this route. But Andre, we know you're really good at speaking. We're going to throw you in the room, do your thing. So they threw me in the room with Deutsche Bank, a bunch of white European guys with nice suits on. So I got all these white guys with tight suits on like this, looking at me, never given a corporate speech in my life. So humility and sense says, don't fake it. Faking is projected weakness. So I stood at the front of the room. I said, gentlemen, my name is Andre. This is the first time I spoke to an audience like this. What can I do to make this the best speech and the best presentation for you? Then the CEO, little guy, stood up in the back. He said, Andre, we got you here because you heard you have a fabulous story. Tell us your story, but don't talk to us in banking terms. Tell us your story and trust that we're smart enough to draw the lines. I was like, cool. I told my story. They drew the lines between my parallels and their parallels and my lessons versus their lessons. I didn't tell any bank jokes. At the end, standing ovation. We go to lunch, and during lunch, I'm sitting with two of the guys, senior guys, and they're like, they were talking about a third man who worked for them, VP of sales or something. He had been working on a project and a contract. He quit their company and went and joined a competitor, and now he's running the contract for them. And they were complaining or just talking about how they were going to lose the contract. By the time they get a new person in and get them up to speed, it's too late. And that contract, I said, how does he do that? They said, how does he work for you, then go work for the other company and work on the same contract that he was just working on for you? He said, it happens all the time in corporate. I said, in prison world, I've raised many gang members. And never one time did a gang member leave my gang, join the other gang, and shoot back at me. Never happened. In the history of gang life, has somebody joined the other gang and shot back. He said, it happens all the time in corporate. And we talk about people going, now you think about the hood stories, the guys shooting in the street, getting shot, going to jail, facing 1 million years. Everybody standing tall. Stupidly, but standing tall. They said, well, can you teach our people that type of loyalty minus the guns and knives? So I created a corporate retention program based on gang loyalty. Because we don't stay for the money. We stay because it's a brother. We stay because it's family. We stay because we're bonded. So I started teaching that level of bonding, that level of connectivity at a corporate level. How do you get someone to buy in? And again, it goes back to the emotional part. It's not the money. I've watched people take a life sentence with 2 little kids at home. I'm not turning my back on my gang. I watched people die because they refused to run away from their brothers during the fight. They were outmanned. Loyalty and bonding matter. And that's what you don't teach at corporate. I give you a parking spot and a check, and that's it, and a key pass. So if somebody gives you a better parking spot and a little more dollars, you're gone. So we teach loyalty and bonding and connectivity versus just incentivize somebody with stuff.
Yeah. So then along that line, because this is like you having a destiny. So can you think of a time in your life when you stopped living your testimony and started living your destiny?
I'm a sum total of all my mentors. And being humbled is the greatest thing that's going to happen to you. When you think you got it, then you run into somebody and they show you that you ain't got it, it means you got to go back and work harder. So I like being able to force to go back and work harder. When I first came home from prison, I said, there's somebody somewhere who knows prison stuff way better than me, because I'm just an ex-offender, you know what I'm saying, who just got out of jail, don't know nothing. I'm going to run into this person who's going to embarrass me because they know more about prison life and the codes and the policies than I do. 26 years I've met the person. I am the reigning expert in my space. I started speaking, and people were standing ovations. They were clapping. They were loving me. They were crying. People cry when I speak. Then I went up to Calgary, and I was at an event, and they cried at my speech in Calgary. They had guys from The Secret, guys from Hollywood, and I crushed them all. Crushed them all. I'm like, then my guy Greg takes me to lunch. He introduced me to Rob. We're sitting at lunch, and Rob just grabbed me by my collar and just started smacking me around on speak. And I'm thinking I know everything until I sat with Rob, and he showed me what I didn't know. It was nothing aggressive or violent. He just said, okay, what about this? And what about that? And I watched you, and I did my summary. He gave me a complete summary breakdown. Not, you were great, Andre, but these are the parts that you're missing. These are your I heard projected weakness. But people kept applauding my strength. Nobody was telling me about my weaknesses. Rob told me about my weaknesses. I remember exactly what he said. He says, Dre, when you're standing on stage, hold your position. Put your 2 feet down, look straight forward. I mean, I can tell you everything. I got notes in my phone to this day from what he told me sitting in that restaurant 15 years ago in Calgary. And I've used that, and I've grown from that. So we're to the point, like I said, this is loyalty. You can go away. I ain't heard from y'all from 18 months. He called me, boom, that's my dude. I pull up. It's not about I ain't seen last week, you didn't return my call, you've been busy. I know. If you're connected, you're connected. So the thing with the 3 of us keeping it 100, you were like, Dre, I'm happy you took the call. What that says is you're not bonded to me. You know me, we're cool, but we're not locked in. Because if you knew me and we were locked in, you knew I would have came. If you said to Rob, let's get Dre, he says, cool, Dre gonna come. You might be thinking about whatever else you're thinking about, but when you say to me, Andre, I'm glad that you came. I'm like, Aaron, you didn't think you thought I might not have come. There was a percent of a doubt that I might have said no. Rob, no, I ain't never gonna say no to Rob. There's no between us from my end. I can't say no. He's one of my mentors. He's my phone, his guru. I can't turn my back on my guru. He can do whatever he wants to do. He has complete autonomy to do whatever he want to do, good, bad, or indifferent. But when my phone rings from the big homie, I take the call. And whatever feelings I have, go to the side. And that's the difference. And when you speak, I hear every word. I hear what you say, what you don't say, what you think. I never indict anybody for what they say. I indict them for what they think. What did you have to think about me to say that, is what I hear. What did you think about me to make that statement? That's every statement from anybody at any time. So for you to make that statement, it was a tell sign that you weren't 100% locked in with Andre. And we can go over a variety of reasons, yes, no, why, it doesn't matter. But I'm there, and I understand the why, because we've never really had a chance to sit down in person and do stuff together and build rock and roll. We've been all virtual. So there's less connectivity there. And so you don't know me personally, you haven't spent time with me personally. Me and Rob been through a few things. And we've been through a few things that have gone good, some things that didn't go good, and he had a chance to see how I respond to both. So Rob has an understanding of Andre that you don't have. It's not a good or bad thing, it's just factual. So he has a different level of confidence when it comes to me that we'll get when we spend more time together. But when we go through some stuff, it's not the good stuff that bonded us. It's the stuff that we bumped our heads that bonded us. And until we go through some trials together, we're always going to have that, I don't know. I don't know how he's going to react. I don't know how he's going to move. And that's in corporate, for all these people watching, it's the same. It's just less intense, and it's just less on the line. So you think you can walk away, but wherever you go, you go. So if you're doing great at this company or not doing great, you're not going to do great at the next company. Wherever you go, you go. So until you improve you, the circumstances will never get better. Until you handle your projected weakness, the people will never treat you differently. And a lot of the guys that I've met in corporate were nerds as kids. They were nerds in the 6th grade. They were nerds throughout high school. They were nerds throughout college. Now they've made it. They want to pretend that they're not nerds anymore because they got a Ferrari and a private jet. You're a damn nerd. Nothing bad about that. I was a nerd back in middle school.
And that's it. That's it. There's no good, no bad, no right, no wrong about it. It just, I love that you say it's factual. And Aaron, you know, of the interviews we've done so far, this schooling that's coming from this one is deep. Would you agree with that?
It's incredible, Andre, when you meet someone who is in the position you were when you had that moment in the prison mirror, where you're writing down, here's what I got to work through. When you meet someone who's in that moment right now, incarcerated or not, incarcerated in the mind or in the actual physical joint, what is something that you know they could do next that would save them 10 years that you had to spend coming up?
Find a mentor earlier. Stop. You don't have, this is the greatest part about mentorship. You find a mentor who's already done it and let them give you the shortcut. Because there's some things I did along the way that I didn't need to do. There's some things I did along the way that were a waste of time. There was a lot of trial and error in the process. And I can eliminate all those. If I had to do it again, it wouldn't have taken me 8 years. I probably got it done in 3.5. But because I didn't know what I didn't know, I kept trial and error. I had to test and test and test. And again, in my situation, I had to test and test and test because I'm the first to do it. There's nobody in prison that went from 105 years gang leader to working at the Pentagon. I went to the Pentagon last year. I've been to the White House. I've been to Congress. I've been to UN. I've been all over the world. So there was no roadmap for me. So therefore, I'm going through the bushes. I don't know which, it all looks the same. Now that I have the roadmap, it would take somebody probably 6 months to get done what it took me 8 years to do. So find somebody who has achieved the level of success in the space or the mindset or the whatever it is that you want and do it. Like probably 8 months ago, the guy said, hey, my health challenge. I want to do some health stuff. I'm 301 pounds. So I'm not going to fat people to ask how to lose weight because I'm fat and we ain't figured it out. So I went to somebody who's fit, who used to be fat, and now they're thin at a weight that I want to be. I said, dude, you was 300 pounds before. I said, yup. Now yup. How did you do it? How did you deal with the cravings? How did you deal with the late night eating? How do you deal with the not going to the gym? Somebody who was born fit, I ain't got time for that. 22, you're supposed to be 80 pounds. I got somebody who was old like me, who was fat like me, who became thin like I wanted, and I asked them all the real questions. And if you've never been 300 pounds, you can't answer my questions. You can give me the right diet, the right supplements, but if you've never been 300 pounds, you technically can't answer all of my questions. So you want to be strong in your mind? You want to get rid of projected weakness? You want to understand how to read people? You want to understand massive manipulation? And manipulation is not a bad thing because we do it to our kids all the time. But it's a bad word when business.
Do it to ourselves all the time too.
Oh, so you gave me this before. Solo entrepreneur, no, it was solopreneur. You gave this to me years ago. Rob gave me about a guy in jail. It was solo something, solopreneur being locked in a cage. I get it in my notes. We went through it. It was like, hey, Dre, this would be a great thing for you. And he gave me the outline, the blueprint on a lot of entrepreneurs are solos. A lot of them are locked in their selves. In the same way I battled my quitting, these guys are battling growing up, not getting the girl, not being cool, not being on the football team, not. So because you have things now, doesn't eliminate what you went through. So you can buy all the cars. That's why they buy the cars, the boats, the planes, the trains. They're trying to offset the times when people overlook them. When a girl thought, he's too small, or he's too this, or he's too that. So now they're trying to compensate, which is called coping versus healing. So we teach healing. We don't teach coping. A boat will help you cope. Cigarettes and drugs will help you cope. A plane will help you cope. Another house will help you cope. More investments, another business will help you cope. It won't help you heal. See, what you're looking at in me is a healed person. So if you want to learn how to cope, man, I can't help you. I do leadership development. I don't do follower training.
And this is a perfect time. We love for our guests to let our listeners and our viewers know, how do they find you? Because, Dre, you're dropping so much gold for us. And I'm going to be watching this one, listening to this one again and again and again, just because of all those nuggets that you've been dropping. So where can people find you if they want to learn more about what you're doing?
Well, right now, what I'm doing is a thing called Second Chance University. I came home and I've had extreme success. I've been friends with a lot of people. I've been on a lot of stages around the world, and it's phenomenal. But I look back and I say, success is not a success without a successor. So even though I help suburban white kids with a drug addiction, I help CEOs with mindset, there's still 2.2 million people in America locked up in a cell who don't have the roadmap. See, what the corporate guy needs is to learn how to heal. What the guy in prison needs is to learn how to heal and a roadmap. So the corporate guy has a house, a car, boat, a plane, and savings. He just needs to learn how to heal himself. Then he's going to be fine. I can heal the guy in jail, but now he's healed and he's broke and he's still in jail. So I got to give him not only healing, but a roadmap. So I help both entities and I give them the roadmap to success. So right now I have a platform. For the most part, they have tablets in prison. And I create content, and 650,000 inmates, men and women from death row to county jail, watch my content every day. And I give them the roadmap on going from healing to progression to prosperity. So Second Chance University is a digital platform that services 650,000 people. And it's also an in-person platform, because anytime there's a prison that has extreme violence, people getting murdered, people getting assaulted, people attacking staff, I come in and bring my team, and we talk to those people who are committing the assaults and committing the violence. And we help them de-escalate that. In South Carolina, they had a prison riot. 7 people were murdered in about 3.5 hours. We went into South Carolina, and we shut down the murders, we shut down the assaults, we shut down the stabbings. By communicating with the people in charge, the gang leaders, we communicated with them and we showed them how to de-escalate and think differently. Right now, we're in the state of New York. New York has witnessed an uptick in a lot of violence against staff and inmates. So we're in the state of New York. We just did 23 prisons in the last 60 days, talking to gang leaders, talking to influencers, talking to staff about better communication, de-escalation. I'm saying coping versus healing and healing versus coping, and how to actually communicate. So we're going in teaching the staff as much as we're teaching the inmates. This is not an inmate problem. It's an inmate and staff problem. If you don't teach both sides, you might as well not taught the other. It's a waste of time.
I got a question about when prisons start to experience upticks in violence amongst the inmates or amongst inmates and staff. Is that a failure of authority in the prison and the inmates? And can you give us, from your perspective, 3 reasons why authority fails, whether it's from the inmates or from the prison staff? Why does authority fail in that environment?
The primary reason why authority fails in an incarceral setting is the staff have no relationship with the inmates. They're not allowed to. So you're the guy who got the keys, you're the guy that got the club, you're the guy in charge, but we have no relationship. So it's the equivalent of me coming to your house trying to tell your kid what to do. He's never seen me, doesn't know me, I'm telling him to go to bed. Shut off the TV. You're like, wait a minute, you never took me to the store. We've never rode the bike together. We've never played catch. All those things give you authority over the child. It's not that you're bigger than, you have a relationship with. If you have a strong relationship with your child, then you can actually speak into his life around discipline, around efficacy, around accountability. But somebody has no relationship with your child, he's not going to listen to them. unless you physically force him, and only while you're physically forcing him will he do what you ask. When you remove the physical force, he's going to go back to saying, I'm not listening to you. So prison staff and prisoners, there's no relationship. I said the key thing to me managing other prisoners was emotional connectivity. There is zero emotional connectivity between prison staff and prisoners. So the only thing that they can do is carrot and stick. So your ability to, if you're getting out of jail, I can impact your getting out of jail. But if I'm not going home, I got a 100-year sentence, your carrot doesn't mean anything to me. The carrot only works for the guy with 3 years left or 4 years left. You got a prison, a maximum security prison with 1,500 guys and 2/3 are doing 40 or better. You can't say, I'm going to not let you go home. I'm already not going home. So now what are you going to threaten me with if you can't take away me going home because I'm not going? So what is the next thing that you're going to say to me to make me do what you want? There's nothing. Unless you can create relationship, you can't ever get true input or buy-in. And by definition, the staff can't have that level of relationship with inmates. So we're teaching and training the staff how the spaces they can go in, the spaces where they can create connectivity. How do you create a relationship or maintain a safe space as staff? You don't want to go in and start hugging people. So there's having been a gang leader, I understand the boundaries. I understand what can and can't be done, and I teach the staff how to move into this space. I teach the inmates, the gang leaders, how to move into the space where everybody's safe. But there's a relationship created that's meaningful, that makes sense, and I can respect your authority, not just your title.
So, Andre, my last question for you, I'm going to say it like this. Andre, tell us the truth here. What part of you... I've been
lying the whole day. Why would I
know, right? Exactly. That's why I want you to go
lying
a little deeper.
Lying is a projected weakness. Lying is top of the project. I can't lie. It's projected weakness on a... No. If you ain't got the heart to say it, then you just need to just stop coming outside.
Love it. Well, what part of you still thinks you're not allowed to be great?
The part of me that says I'm not allowed to be great is when I think of my grandparents. I think of my parents, and I get stuck in history. When I get stuck in the history of, I look at it from the wrong vantage point. I look at Black Americans in America and how tough it was. Sometimes I get stuck with not how far we've come, but what we've gone through. And I get stuck there sometimes. So in my family, I was the first generation to be born in a hospital. And had I been born in Virginia, my son would have been the first generation born in a hospital. Because in Virginia, in 1967, it was against the law for Black kids to be born in a hospital. We were all, my father, my grandmother, all my aunts and uncles were born with surrogates at home. And I think of the 2 aunts and uncles that didn't make it just because of complications being born in the house. So I get stuck sometimes and I look at it from the wrong way. Instead of saying, it's my chance to make it better, it's my chance to raise the bar and the standards, sometimes I get just stuck in being human. You get down on yourself. You're not always up. And then the thoughts creep in like, Dre, it's against you. There was a time when Black people were in the hull of a ship, leaving West Africa, coming here. And there was a time where that whole treatment, that whole lifestyle was just horribly bad. And you can get stuck there. You can say, those same people produced Barack Obama. Those same people have produced great minds. We went from the bottom of a ship to the leader of the free world. If that's not inspiration, forget the politics. And I have to stay in that space. But it's so easy to get stuck in the other spaces of the atrocities, of the violence, of the brutality. And it happened. But you know something? And this other thing I had to teach people. Black folks weren't the first set of people to be enslaved. It's happened for centuries. It's happened in the Bible. It's happened in China. It's happened all over the world. We were just kind of like the last set. We remember the last crew, but we weren't the first. We just were kind of like the last set of people who get caught up. And it's easy to get lost. So both my parents passed in the last 18 months. And I can be happy that my mother had solace that her son was going to be okay without her. That's all my mother wanted to know. Is my boy going to be okay without me? And she looked me in my face when it was time for her to go and she could go to sleep well. That's all she wanted. I can be mad that my mom ain't here. I can be happy that she went home happy. So it's emotions sway. You know what I'm saying? And then the accountability of I can't make a mistake. I am the poster child for prison reentry. I can't rob anybody. I can't stab anybody. I can't smack anybody. I can't do this. Because if I mess up, the entire movement goes away. The entire movement becomes a fraud because Andre Norman's a fraud. So the weight of being perfect every day is real. I can't make mistakes. I can't do certain things because if I do them, everything goes out the window for everybody behind me. Because we created a movement of excellence, of standards, of look what we can do. Look at me. All the places and spaces I've been in. So if I mess up, it crushes the entire thing. And it's not fair. I could say, well, it's not like that for white people. It's not like that for Chinese people. It is. I live with facts. It is what it is. So I'm not arguing why. I'm just saying, let's get the work done, and I'm going to keep being perfect for the rest of my days. Because we had a saying back in the day that we had to be twice as good as white people to be successful. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that's still true. And I don't say that as I'm against. Most of my mentors, my wife, you're one of my mentors. I love you. Call me 7 days a week. I'm pulling up. And if there's a beef in the street, I don't care who's on the other side. Me and you are rolling together. So I tell people, we draw the line in the sand. God forbid you're on the other side. Because I'm rolling with Rob. I tell people, come ready. Don't come over here with a conversation. Don't come over here with a plea bargain. Come over here ready. Because we go all in on us. So for me, just living history is different than reading history. And like you said, a man walked into your camp and said, Andre Norman. To him, I'm a hero. It's hard for me to see myself as a hero. I don't know if any hero ever saw himself as a hero, but I'm a hero to hundreds of thousands of people. And embracing that concept is hard for me because I'm still the little throwaway kid that his dad didn't want sometimes. So, but they don't know that my dad didn't want me. They know that they want me. So just accepting the fact that there's millions of people who respect and love what I do and looking at myself from their lens is sometimes what I get stuck at. And I need to do that more often, which will make me work harder.
Here's my last question that I got, barring anything you bring up. What is it about power and authority that you know that other people don't want to hear?
Responsibility of making people better. There's the do what I say do because I want to see you do it and I just want to be in charge. Being in charge is easy. Power control has accountability attached to it. Authority has none. I can just bully you because I can bully you because I have the upper hand or a bigger stick. But power and authority should make people better. At the end of the day, I say, what is the outcome from the order you just gave? What did it do for somebody? Is that based in anything other than this personal selfishness? So what is your guiding light? What is the outcome for the people? So you look at a politician, you look at a dad, you look at a mom, you look at a school teacher. What is your desired outcome? And is that outcome better for the child, better for the individual, and better for mankind? Does the enterprise get better, or you just feel like you just got one up on somebody? And that's the important thing. And when you stop and you get out your own way and say, what can I do to make this better? Because we're leaving this planet. In some form or fashion, we came down. In some form or fashion, we'll go back to dust. And I got a thing called a tombstone. I'm going to die. And they're going to give me a tombstone. My tombstone's going to say 3 things. Because I get to pick them. Because I watched my grandmother and my mom go. My tombstone will say Harvard Fellow. Because I did that. And I don't have to say prisoner. Harvard Fellow. I did that. Honorable son. I went above and beyond showing up for Mother's Day. It's going to say freed people. Harvard Fellow, honorable son, freed people. That's what I do. And everything that I do can be measured against that. So what is your guiding light? What is your North Star? What is the thing that you're measuring your life against? If you're measuring your life against money, it's a waste of time because it went from gold to dollar bills. Now it's Bitcoin. Now it's digital. What are you measuring your life against? At the end of the day, what are they going to say about you? Because your car's not going with you. Your house ain't going with you. Your girlfriend and your wife ain't going with you. And what are you leaving on the table? And you get there by bumping your head. I have the prison tablet program, and I'm running the tablet. Somebody sent me an email, say, hey, Drake, can you do closed caption? I said, cool. I started doing closed caption. But what I didn't do was my research. I just took it for face value, and I put it up there, didn't do a check-in. And so I'm thinking, man, this closed caption thing is stupid. It's waste of money, too much time, slowing the process down. That's what Andre's thinking. I walked through a prison. I came to a cell. There was a deaf guy in the cell. And he looked me in the face, and he signed, thank you for putting the closed caption on there because I couldn't hear it otherwise. And he thanked me he started talking to me as best he could, writing out little notes about the videos and what they meant to him. And Andre, the selfish one, was about to cancel because I'd never met a deaf guy. I'd never met a deaf guy in prison. So I didn't fully understand the power and control that I had over his education because I didn't do the research. So my power and control, unbeknownst, ignorance is not an excuse for making bad decisions. So my ignorance was going to cut this man off. So he's imagine sitting in a cell and you're deaf. And the only thing you got is this tablet and you can't hear anything. And now this guy puts up closed caption for you, then he takes it away. How evil would that have been? How defeating would that have been to that man? He had something, he's learning like everybody else, but because I was too lazy or too lazy to do the research and to understand the impact of how many deaf people are in prison counting on these videos, I would have wiped them away. That's what I was going to do. But God put me in front of a man to remind me of your power and control goes further than what you think. Your voice goes further than what you can hear. Your impact goes way further than what you think you can touch. So I need people to tap in and understand. We all can make bad decisions. That wouldn't have been a mistake. It would have been a bad decision based on ignorance. And that was 3 weeks ago. Make bad decisions based on ignorance. Sometimes I get lucky enough to see a man and stop me and make me retool and recalibrate. And sometimes I make the bad decision. I just have to try to fix it as best I can later. But we're in this, people can win. And that's all I want to do is see people win. Now, I don't care where they from, what they look like, what they call themselves. I just want to see you win. So when you call Andre Norman, just be ready to win. Because that's what I'm going to take you to, a win. We'll define it, we'll outline it, then we'll execute it, and then we'll celebrate.
As always, please join Robert and me at ahr3.com. That's Aaron Huey, Robert Raymond Riopel, ahr3.com. Our programs, our events, our support for you as an authority. That's what we have for you there. So please check us out. Huge thanks to Dr. Andre Norman. Thanks to our producer, Dylan, Deepen Productions. Robert, I will see you soon.
Can't wait to see you on the next Extreme Authority.